Now I know I usually don't make news videos, but this is something really big, because after 6 years, Valve has finally made their new headset, because they have just revealed the Valve Deckard, or the actual name of it, the Steam Frame, which will soon release in early 2026. And in good Valve fashion, this is completely different from every single competitor. Does a lot of incredible new things, doesn't do some things, and it's not as powerful as you'd think it would be, but this thing might be huge, just bear with me, okay? Also, quick shout out to Flare for giving me the majority of this information. Just helped so this video could come out sooner. But let me tell you what the Steam Frame is all about. So this is Valve's first PC and standalone headset. So it's mainly standalone, but you can connect it to a PC. So you are able to use a wired option, except they really advertise you not doing that and actually using Wi-Fi, which then would mean that you'd be wireless. That sounds bad, but it's actually not, because the Steam Frame actually uses something called foveated streaming. Because with foveated rendering, it tracks your eyes to where you're looking at and then makes everything around it blurry. It only makes what you're looking at super crystal clear. That's just so it makes it so the GPU isn't working as hard. So then the idea with foveated streaming is that it makes it so then your Wi-Fi doesn't get used as much. So then people with weaker Wi-Fi can have easier time streaming with this thing, which to my knowledge, this is the only headset that's able to do that. Not even like the Quest 3 or Quest 3S can even do it. And I did say it tracks your eyes, and that's because this thing actually does have eye tracking. So it's a standalone headset for eye tracking, so this is going to be great for social games like VR Chat and Rec Room, etc. And speaking of eyes, let's go on what you'll be looking through, because this headset actually uses pancake lenses and doesn't use any of the Fresnel lenses. So the resolution per eye on this headset is 2160 by 2160, which for a standalone headset really isn't that bad. It seems more on the lower side, but for trying to cut costs, it makes sense. It also tries to cut costs by using an LCD panel, which some people might be upset about that, but for the sake of price, I think this was a good move. And the field of view on this headset is going to be 110 degrees. So that's the exact same as the Quest 3, so that's pretty good. And the hertz on this headset actually has the potential of going up to 144 hertz, which is insane, which is exactly how much the Valve Index used to have. And this headset has about 16 gigabytes of RAM. The Quest 3 only has 8, so this is a big improvement. And something amazing about this headset is that it uses the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip. The Quest 3 only has the XR2 Gen 2 chip, so games are going to look much better with textures and shadows on this compared to the Quest 3. And this thing looks very compact. You're probably wondering how much this weighs. Well, it actually weighs 440 grams, which is even lighter than both the Quest 3 and the Quest 3S, which with all the stuff that it has going for, I'm surprised it's even lighter. That's crazy to me. And of course I should mention that this thing has IPD adjustment just right on the top of the headset. So this does have a lot of things going for it, but there's a few things that it doesn't really have. Like for instance, this thing doesn't have hand tracking, which is kind of a bummer. I'm not really sure why this thing can't be able to do it, but I mean, some sacrifices had to be made, I guess. And another weird thing about this headset is that it actually doesn't have AR capabilities. You can't do anything with AR with this, which then yes, the pass-through is actually in monochrome, which means it's just in black and white. So it'll look very similar the same way that the Quest 2's looks, which is not really that good. However, there's a lot of people in VR who just don't care about AR, which sacrificing this for price I think was actually a pretty good call. I suggested people making more VR headsets that don't have AR in them because some people just don't care. So all that's really nice, but since this is Valve's first standalone headset, then what does it run? Does it actually just run Steam on it? Is that really its main OS? Well, yes. Right when you turn on the headset, you're just put right into Steam, which already just has a tremendous amount of VR games just sitting there waiting, which will then give another boost of life to PC VR. So yeah, there's a lot of VR games on here, but there's also a lot of not VR games on Steam. So what, are you just able to see them and not play them? Well, actually, you can play them. You're not just only able to play the VR games, but the normal games as well. And yes, you can just use the Frame's VR controllers to do that. But if you don't want to use those, then you can use the new Steam controller that connects right with it. But then if you really wanted to, you could put on this headset and then play Counter-Strike with it. Yeah, of course, it wouldn't be VR Counter-Strike, it would just be a flat screen on there. But that's still amazing that it allows you to do that. It's almost like this is a mixture between a VR headset and almost like a PC in a way. And you know what, speaking of controller, let's see what this one has. So surprisingly, they don't use the Valve Index controllers. They decided to make their own new ones that look very similar to the Quest 3, which does make it look pretty generic and not really that unique, but it does give a sense of familiarity of how to use these. So I guess they're just ditching their Knuckles controllers, which is kind of sad to see, to be honest. I thought they were really cool. A cool thing about these new controllers is that they actually do have haptic feedback, so that's nice. So the Steam Frame is actually looking really good. So good, in fact, this might actually just be the go-to PC option from now on. But with all that I have said and everything that's going for this headset, you're probably wondering what is the price? It's gotta be super high, right? And I'd love to tell you that this is gonna be cheap, but as of right now, they have not given a price at all, which is kind of a bummer. However, they have said that they want to make it so it's cheaper than the Valve Index, which was $1,000. And also keep in mind, since this is a standalone, it has storage, and it looks like there's gonna be one 256GB model and 1TB model. So then there'll be a more expensive one and one that's a little less expensive. So I can't tell you the price, but I can tell you that it's most likely going to be less than $1,000. This is completely a guess, but I think the 1TB model might be $900, and the one that's only 256GB, I think that might be around like $700, which I think what you're getting, this is actually some pretty good pricing. Sure, some people are upset that it doesn't have AR capabilities, that it's only in black and white with the pass-through, and that the resolution isn't super good and uses an LCD display. But I just gotta say, people just gotta remember that pricing is very important, because if it did have all those things, this headset could have been up to like $1,500, which the headset itself would then be more powerful, just less people would actually go and buy it. I mean, there's a reason why the Quest 2 is sold so much. So this headset takes away a few things, but it gives some new things, and those things that it gives make up a lot for it. So now I'll just quickly give my opinion on this whole headset, and my verdict is that this headset actually looks really good. Like seriously, this is something that VR desperately needed right now. It just feels so new, so fresh, just so different. This headset really has the chance to kick Meta off their high horse. This option also just seems really good if you really hate Meta. The Steam frame just has so much potential, so much going for it, and it can really do good. Let's just hope and pray to Gabe Newell that this thing is actually fairly cheap, because even though this headset is not the most powerful, it actually may be the most versatile headset I have ever seen. And with this coming from Valve, I really have no worries, and I think this thing's gonna do great. But we're just gonna have to see until this thing gets an official release date. So until then, I guess we're just gonna have to wait. But thank you guys for watching, I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys later.